What's up, everybody? We're back to my favorite city in the world, Las Vegas, the city that never sleeps, and so do I. Just kidding. I took some really good sleep at my Airbnb in North Las Vegas, woke up and ran a little bit in the neighborhood, hit the shower, had a really good lunch, and around 6 p.m. I arrived to my favorite casino in Vegas. At least at that particular moment, a lot has happened in the 10 days I was in Vegas this time. The place is packed, it's a Friday night, and we're ready to play plenty of hours of poker. I've decided to play 5-10. There were no 5-10 seats at the moment, so I hop in the 2-5 just to get started. This table was great and I posted everything that happened there on my Instagram.
Garbage done. Not rushing you. You still want all this, right?
The most interesting hand that happened in this 2-5 was this ace-king suited from the under the gun +1. Under the gun straddles to 10. The table was pretty crazy and I decided to limp this ace-king suited. No one at the table knew who I was or knew what I was doing. Woman in the hijack raises to 55. Button calls. Action is back on me. The pot already has more than 27% of my stack and I believe that raising would represent even more strength than shoving sometimes. So I shove all in for $500. Woman in the hijack asks why so much and in the end decides to call. Button folds. Let's go. The flop comes ace high and I already show my hand. The board seems pretty safe. She mentions she needed a deuce and shows a 4. My guess is that she had ace 4 suited and we win the hand. A fun thing that happened right after this hand was that our player on sit 1 made a joke like, "You can breathe now, kid," assuming that I was nervous in this hand. And I remember very well, I was really calm. And probably due to my image as a young kid from Brazil, he thought I would be nervous. And honestly, that's great, because I can definitely use that in my favor in the future. And whenever someone has a wrong perception of you in the table, instead of trying to convince them that he's wrong, do better than that and just take advantage of this wrong perception. Fools try to win discussions, non-fools try to win. Be a non-fool. Winning around $600 in the 2-5, but we're here to play 5-10. I buy in for $1,500, which is the max at this game. I already see two familiar faces in this table. One of them is Christian Soto, the other one is this player in my right who is not in the footage, but I've played with him a lot already. First hand in this 5-10, it folds to me in the cutoff. I have king 9 offsuit and open raise to 30. Only big blind call. We go heads up to the flop, which comes ace 8-4 with 2 clubs, and I have the king of clubs. When he checks to me, that's a clear c-bet for me. I c-bet $20 and he calls. Turn is a 10 of diamonds. Not the best turn because now there are 2 flush draws in the board. I could either check back here or bet. But if I bet here, I better bet big. So that's what I do. I bet $100, about the size of the pot. He quickly calls. River is a queen of spades. He checks to me and I decide to check back. He shows queen 4 of hearts, making bottom pair in the flop and 2 pairs in the river and wins the hand. I buy in for $100 more and see this king queen suited from the under the gun. I open raise to 30. Same player from last hand 3 bets to $100 from the hijack. It falls to me and here I could either 4 bet or call. Both plays are completely fine in a GTO perspective with this hand. I decided to call and see a flop, which is one that I missed, 6-5-3 with 1 diamond. I check to him. He bets pretty big, 2/3, and due to how big he bet, I decided to fold and go to the next hand. I buy in for $100 more and see this pocket kings on the small blind. Cut off open raises to 30. Of course I'm gonna 3-bet. I 3-bet to 4x, $120, little less than I'm gonna usually do. He folds and I win the hand. And the first big hand that we play in this table is this ace 8 suited from the hijack. It folds to me and I open raise to 30. Only button calls. We go heads up to the flop, which comes jack 8-4 with 2 hearts. I have middle pair with top kicker. I decide to check. Opponent on the button bets $50 and I call. Turn is great, an ace of diamonds. Now there are 2 flush draws in the board. Looking back, I would love to lead this hand, but checking is fine as well. I check and he decides to check back. River is a blank, a 5 of spades, and now we're gonna go for value. I decide to polarize my hand and overbet for $210. He calls, I show my hand, and we win this one. The table I was a must-move table, so whenever there was an open seat, I was obligated to go to the next one. First hand in this table, I already see a great sign. I'm in the cutoff with pocket nines, Japanese guy in the hijack limps. I raise to 45, only hijack calls. We go heads up to the flop, which comes queen jack 10 rainbow. This flop favors my range more than his. So when he checks to me, I decide to bet big. I bet $75. He tanks for a while and decides to call. Turn is the best card in the deck, an 8 of clubs. He checks to me and now I should be really thoughtful of how much I want to bet. We're playing really deep, so any big bet I make here is gonna put a lot of pressure on his hands. So instead of betting big here, I decided to bet a really small amount. So maybe he felt weakness on me and decided to check raise. So I bet $75, same amount I made in the flop. He thinks for a long time but doesn't fall for my trap. He just calls, and we see a 7 of diamonds in the river. He checks to me again, and now of course I'm gonna try to go for max value. When I'm in situations like this, my thought process is, what is the most I can bet so I can extract value from the most amount of hands he has in his range? So in this particular case, the value was 310, so that's how much I bet. He thinks for a long time, but decides to fold, and we win this hand. Two hands after this one, I see ace queen suited from the low jack. It folds to me and I raise to 30. Hijack 3 bets to 120. That's a pretty big sizing to raise 4x in position. It folds back to me and here I could either call or 4-bet. And in this particular hand versus this particular player, I decided to 4-bet big for $400. His snap folds and we win this hand. I changed seats to get a better table footage, winning $400 so far. Next hand I'm on the big blind with ace king offsuit, under the gun straddles 20, cutoff raises to 50, small blind calls, amazing spot here for me to squeeze. Everybody's playing fairly deep and I'm in the single worst position post flop, which is the small blind. So I decide to raise to $300, everybody folds and we win those $130 clean. This next hand is really interesting. I'm on the big line with king 6 suited, button open raises to 30. Here I could totally 3-bet if I wanted, but in this particular spot I decided to call and see a flop. The flop is a great one, ace king 6 with 2 diamonds. I check, he c-bets big to $50, and that's when the hands start getting more complicated. I'm playing versus a good player, a player who knows that this board ace king 6 is way better for his range than for mine, and a player who was showing some respect to me, asking things about the vlog and etc. So in this particular flop, that he has a lot of range advantage, it wouldn't make so much sense for me to check raise here, and I also knew that there was a big chance that he would still bet big on the turn and the river. So instead of check raising for value with my hand, I decided to call and let him keep betting big on turns and rivers. That was what I thought that he would most likely do. So I call here. The turn is better for his range again, because he could have ace king, ace jack, king jack, kings, aces, jacks. He could even have queen 10. Hands that I would never had at that particular moment, because otherwise I would 3-bet pre-flop. So even though I'm winning most of the times here, I know that sometimes I will be into a cooler as well. I check again, and now he bets pretty big again. He goes for 120. I call. The river is a blank, thankfully. I check again. He makes a pot-sized bet for $400. I don't see much value in raising, because most of the times he called me, I would be losing this hand. I call. He shows ace queen of hearts. If I check raised in the flop, things could get pretty ugly for him, but still, we extracted some good amount of value from him and we win this one. The next hand I see pocket kings on the small blind, under the gun straddles to 20, same player from last hand from the cutoff, open raises to $60. I'm gonna 3-bet here for sure. I usually gonna do little more than 4x, and because I had kings, I decided to make 245, only cutoff calls. We go heads up to the flop, which comes a pretty good one, jack 10-4 rainbow. I'm losing mostly to set of jacks, 10s and 4s, 2 combinations of jack 10 suited as well, but there are much more hands that I'm winning in his range. Effective stack is deep, and I should be really thoughtful of the sizing I'm gonna make. I decide to make it 300, he calls, turn is a 9 of diamonds. Now king queen gets there, but I have 2 kings here blocking. I'm saying this because I decided to check here, and after I checked, he decided to bet big for $750. And with this sizing, he's mostly representing he has a straight or a set. but I could really see him betting that big with many semi-bluffs as well, with hands like ace-queen, or just a queen, which would be an open-ender, or a queen and a pair. This bet in the turn puts a lot of pressure on me, especially because he is in position, with something like 1500 in his stack, so he could totally shove all in the river and put me in a really tough spot. But even though this is a pressuring spot for me, I believe that's a clear call. I'm not gonna fold kings here, especially blocking the king-queen. That is one of the hands he is representing. I also got some plan B if the queen comes, or even the king. And this is something I mention a lot for people who reach me to get coached. That profitable poker is not about feeling good, it's about playing good. Don't think I'm not feeling pressure by this bet. But even though it's not an easy spot, folding here would be a huge mistake that I would never allow myself to make. I have to call here, and that's what I do. I call. River comes a blank, thank God. I quickly check, and now he goes into the tank. He checks back, I show the kings, he mugs, and we win this $2,600 pot. This was day 1 out of many days I was in Vegas. Soon I'm gonna be heading on to LA, and there's a live stream on Hustler Casino called Max Payne Monday. I'm trying to reach the guys to be able to play on this live stream, but to be really honest with you guys, I've been having a real hard time to reach big guys on the poker scene. I don't know why is that happening. This is probably because I'm not from US, I don't know. But it would be a real dream coming true if I could be invited for this stream. So even though I don't have many friends in the US, I have you, whom I know that many of you appreciate my work, and I'm very grateful for that. The live stream is happening right now when this video is uploaded. Just click the link in the description and comment on the live stream. Hey guys, you should invite Poker Prophet to play on Max Payne Monday. If you do that, hopefully I will call their attention and maybe get invited to play when I'm in LA. I'll be very grateful for whoever of you who comment there. I'm playing for a total of 7 hours, and I decided to stack my chips and finish the session. This was my first out of many days I was in Vegas. I had some of the best experience of my life in this trip, and I can't wait to show you guys. Stay tuned because there are many great episodes coming your way. You will not regret watching them. Well guys, end of first session, first day, sorry, here in Vegas. Won 2200 total, 7 hours of game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Let me know what you thought about my play and about the field in the comment section. I learned a lot from you, and I mean that. And I see you next time. The mission of this channel is helping you become a better poker player, and see you next time.